Hey there, and welcome to this full guide on overcoming insomnia. I've called this the creative act of leaving insomnia because that's really what it is. It's a creative act of liberation once we leave it behind. And not only that, once we are over insomnia, we'll find that a lot of creativity that was buried under all the frustration, anxiety, tiredness, and desperation of insomnia can come back to the surface and serve our lives, not only if you're in the field of the arts, if you're an artist and musician like myself. It doesn't matter what field you're in, the creativity that comes up is very beneficial. And we'll start by talking about becoming aware of our sleep identity. I just want to make sure you're in the right place here. This is for anyone who struggles with sleep or has been struggling for a very long time and who has not been helped by the mainstream advice out there. It's for you if you kind of feel let down by a lot of that advice and a lot of the supplements and sleep hacks that you're supposed to take and that are supposed to help. And it's also for you if you are willing to take a bold and creative step outside of the loop of insomnia. Before we begin, I just want to make it clear I'm not a doctor nor a therapist. None of this is medical advice. I'm simply speaking from experience as someone who suffered from sleep anxiety for decades and full-blown sleep maintenance insomnia for almost a decade. So check the full disclaimer in the video description below if you have any doubts. Other than that, let's begin. What is needed from you? We need curiosity and an open mind, even if you're an expert. When I was struggling with insomnia, I thought I knew everything about sleep, and that attitude of feeling like I just knew better somehow was something that really blocked me from absorbing some bits of wisdom that really would have gotten me out of my insomnia sooner, I think, if I'd just been able to be open to them. Number two, we need a readiness to let insomnia go, even if it may have been serving us. Now, what do I mean by that? It's that in a roundabout way, sometimes we can kind of be let off the hook, if we identify as an insomniac, we might not be as harsh with ourselves, or other people might be gentle and kind with us, which is a nice thing, of course, but also that can be something that creates an attachment. So we need to be ready to let go of having that cushioning of, the thought, oh, but I'm an insomniac, so, treat me differently. I know that's very hard, but yeah, we need to believe also that it is absolutely possible to find restful and peaceful sleep again. Number three, we need an attitude of gentleness, kindness towards ourselves, and courage to take a new step. So if all of that is there and you're ready, then let's begin. Let's talk about sleep identity. Basically, insomniacs or anyone with trouble sleeping usually has a narrative around their sleep. They have a way that they think about it, and for me it was, oh, I'm the guy who always wakes up at 3 a.m. and I can't fall back asleep. Or at other times in my life, it was like, oh, I just wake up way too early. I don't know. I wake up 2 hours before the alarm clock. So whatever your identity is, we need to explore that. And let's look at some examples. I'm a bad sleeper. I'm a light sleeper. I'm someone who always wakes up at 3. I can't nap. If I drink coffee in the afternoon, there's no chance of sleep. So the list goes on and on. Basically, have a think. What is it for you? What is your relationship with sleep? How do you think about it, and how do you talk about it to other people? Have a think for a moment, and then the next thing, the first action step would be to write that in the comments, preferably in the comments. If you don't want to write it in the comments, put it on a piece of paper. But in the comments would be preferable because that way other people can relate to your experience. They might be going through the same thing, and it's mutual encouragement to do this course together. And I can also comment on your comments. So I'll take a moment here to give you time to write your comment and to think about your sleep identity. You can also pause the video here. All right, so now that we have your sleep identity, let's explore the sleep identity of a good sleeper. Maybe you know someone like this. Maybe it's someone in your family, someone who just, their head hits the pillow, they fall asleep, and they sleep all the way through the night, and maybe they sleep 8, 9, 10 hours, who knows. The only thing stopping them is the alarm clock. So we all know someone like this, and if you ask them what their secret is, they'll probably just shrug their shoulders. They'll say, I don't know, I just close my eyes and sleep. So what is their sleep identity? Well, there is none. They don't really waste a lot of thought on sleep. There's not a lot of obsession. It's just a side effect. They live their lives, and a side thing is that they also sleep. It's not a big thing. It's not a big topic. Whereas for insomniacs, it's something that we're constantly thinking and worrying about, constantly talking about. It's always on our minds, and we're always worried, and we're always struggling with it in some way. So what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? The answer is nothing. I know it doesn't seem that way. You think everything's terrible and there must be something wrong with you, and maybe you're frantically looking for solutions everywhere, left and right, and you're Googling and you're going to all the experts and whatnot. However, the fact is our sleep systems are actually very robust. So if our bodies need sleep and there's nothing blocking sleep, we will sleep. It's a very robust system. But if it's not happening for you, it's that something is blocking sleep. And of course, many things can block sleep. In the short term, it could be a side effect of a medication or this or that. But what keeps insomnia going is most likely habitual beliefs and behaviors. So let's explore that a little bit more, because those are the things that set off insomnia and keep it going. First off, I'm going to give you a challenging statement. You are unique, but your insomnia is not. Does that trigger you? It would have triggered me, because I felt when I was going through my insomnia that nobody else in the world was experiencing exactly what I was experiencing. That people have trouble falling asleep, but I have trouble staying asleep, and my case is different, and all that stuff. So just observe, is there a voice inside you right now that says, oh no, yes, my insomnia is totally unique, it's very different? I'm going to explore a little bit why that might not be the case. This is how insomnia is created. This is kind of a ladder from 1 to 4 steps. Number 1, we have predisposing factors. These are things that are just basically sleep disruption, maybe based on mental health, physiological health, whatever. Maybe it could be something like restless legs syndrome. Some people have that, and it's something that will wake them up. Now, that's not insomnia in itself. That is sleep disruption, and you waking up is a symptom of your restless leg syndrome, or a symptom of your age, mental health disorder, anxiety, whatever it is. It's also good to note that we all have different sleep needs, right? So with age, usually we tend to sleep a little bit shorter. Babies tend to sleep for a very long time. Anyway, that's not insomnia yet. Number 2 is the precipitating factors. This is when everything gets taken up a notch. It's a heightened phase of stress. It could be something like if you're a student and you're going through a phase of exams, or if you have recently experienced a breakup and you find yourself up at night more than usual. All these things are normal. Life comes at us sometimes with some stressful things that make it hard for us to find deep and restful sleep. Still, very normal. Now, most people who are not insomniacs will have experienced all of those things. So a phase of bad sleep, or even just a night of bad sleep, and then they'll return back to baseline sleep, whatever that means. If that's undisrupted sleep for you, then that's your baseline sleep. Or if you have a pre-existing condition, then it'll just return to what the basic level is. And of course, if you have pre-existing conditions, and they're interrupting with your sleep, interfering with your sleep, definitely get those things checked out. But what I'm talking about here is what then keeps insomnia going. What actually creates the struggle with sleep is at number 3 here on this ladder. It is the perpetuating factors. It's once we've experienced a bout of bad sleep, it's how we react to it. It's what forms beliefs after that. So maybe it knocks your confidence. You've had a stretch of bad nights, and now suddenly you're afraid. You're afraid, oh my God, am I going to be able to fall back asleep? Am I even capable? And because you doubt it, you now start implementing new habits and behaviors. So you're like maybe reaching for a supplement that someone told you about. You are sleeping in to catch up on a bad night's sleep. You're doing a lot of things in reaction to either just one night or several nights of bad sleep. This is what kind of sets the issue off. This is the beginning of insomnia. And then stage 4, chronic insomnia, is when it is just, you've reached a point where falling asleep itself, or the thought of falling asleep, is just something that gives you anxiety. And all right, let's just explore first a little bit the difference between insomnia and sleep disruption. Again, sleep disruption is something that happens to all of us. Insomnia is sort of an optional response to that disruption in sleep, and the very response is the thing that keeps perpetuating the sleepless nights. All right, so insomnia is more like a symptom and not really a disease in itself. I want to talk a little bit about where most mainstream advice goes wrong. You see here a pyramid of the things that kind of influence our sleep. The strongest influence is here at the bottom of the pyramid. It's our behaviors, thoughts, perceptions, habits, emotions, our nervous system state. That is the foundation. Everything that's on top will not impact our sleep as much as that. However, mainstream advice focuses just on the tip of the pyramid. It influences just, maybe if you want to give it a percentage, 5% of good sleep maybe is up here. And it is all the do's and don'ts about sleep. It's all the sleep hacks. It's all the supplements, the chamomile tea, the magnesium, whatever it is. These things up here are kind of the main things that are being preached that you'll hear about online if you Google anything related to sleep issues. And most of the time, this is completely ignored. This part here with the behaviors, the emotions, and the habits, and so on. This is really where we need to focus on, because if we don't have this fundamental basis, everything else collapses. You certainly have heard of people who, don't do all the quote-unquote right things and they sleep just fine, right? You might know somebody, actually we'll look at that in the next slide here, the good sleeper, right? They do all these things. They might look at their phones until right before they sleep, something we're not really supposed to do, they tell us, right? Because of the blue light. Of course, maybe there's some effect of blue light on our sleep, but by far the effect is minimal when compared to the stress of obsessing about sleep. Also, they might sleep in a noisy, hot environment when we're supposed to sleep in a cold room. They might drink coffee late in the day and eat heavy meals and smoke cigarettes and all these things. And still they sleep completely fine, right? Again, I'm not telling you should be doing any of these things. Please don't start smoking because of this video. But I'm just saying, there's people out there who are doing all the quote-unquote wrong things and they sleep so peacefully. All right, so what is the solution? Well, we need to learn from these people who sleep really well. We need to drop some of the control around the topic. We need to drop some of the guilt around, not doing the quote-unquote right things. So next time you don't sleep, I would challenge you to kind of observe what's happening. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to sleep because the way is non-doing. We need to drop efforts. That is the way forward. And in this course, we're going to learn how to do nothing or no thing, because the more we try to sleep, the less we sleep. All right, some takeaway thoughts for today. I would love it if you could start building some awareness of how you react to that bad night of sleep. The next time it happens, don't just remember the facts of it, like, oh, I only slept 2 hours, I only slept 1 hour, whatever it is. Start noticing your reactions to it. What are the thoughts that are present? What are the emotions? How does it feel? And you can write that down on a piece of paper or explore more in the comments. Again, people can relate to these things and we can all help each other. Also, take stock of the things that you've been doing to kind of keep insomnia at bay. What have you been doing to protect yourself from a bad night's sleep? Basically, all the things that you have been doing are like a fort that you're building up. It's like an arsenal of weapons against the enemy of insomnia. And the suggestion here is, doing nothing. And that can be really scary and it can be really difficult because we're so afraid of the potential consequences of not having our protective mechanisms in place. But also, think about it. It can be a huge relief. If you understand that the less we try, the more we sleep, it means that you can actually really lean back and realize that you don't have to do as much obsessing. You don't need to do as much Googling and searching, and you don't have to continue the search for the perfect YouTube video that will solve everything, or the perfect, the perfect supplement, whatever. You can just know that disrupted nights are a normal thing, and the more you worry about them, the more they will happen, and vice versa. The more you manage to be at peace with them, the less they will happen. So becoming okay, even with a bad night of sleep, is a very challenging thing, but it can be a huge breakthrough. All right, for today, I'd like to leave you with creative act number 1. Explore new ways of talking about your sleep to yourself and others, because our words have a lot of power. Not only within ourselves, there's a cascade of effects, right? If we think about sleep in a very problematic way that victimizes us, well, and if we're anxious about it and afraid about sleep, of course, that's going to influence our bodies, our emotions, our feelings, our, behaviors. So in a similar way, the way we talk about our sleep to others programs our outside environment to respond to us in a certain way. You might have noticed this if you're far into your insomnia journey, then certainly all people in your environment know you as the Insomniac. So find new ways to break free of that, because that programming is something that can keep you trapped in the identity of the bad sleeper, the identity of the person who always wakes up at 3 a.m. or whatever that identity is for you. So you don't have to invent anything out of thin air. You don't have to lie, certainly. Please don't. You just need to explore how you could frame the situation in a more beneficial way. In a way that does not cement a sleep identity that doesn't serve you. So whatever that means for you, explore a little bit. It could also simply mean you don't talk about it with certain people. Or when the topic comes up, maybe you steer the conversation in a different direction. Or maybe you state, if that's factual for you, I hope, you say that I actually feel a little more at ease about my sleep these days because I'm starting to work on it and exploring some things that are really helping me, some ideas, and whatever it is for you. So that's creative act number 1. Explore new ways of talking about it to yourself and others. All right, I'm looking forward to the next one, in which we're going to be exploring what causes sleep and what blocks it. I am going to upload that in a week from now, unless if I see people are engaging and really want part number 2, I will upload it sooner. I'm going to say if I get 3 likes on this video, I'm going to upload it sooner. If not, next week. Until then, wish you all the best. See you in the comments and talk to you soon. Bye bye.